Hello everyone, I'm Bruffy1322 and this video is going to show the fastest cars made by the in-game manufacturer Dinka in terms of lap time. As always, the position counter is in the top left with the best lap time the vehicle achieved in the top right, and since it's more for interest purposes rather than anything functional, non-raceable cars are included in this list. Also, as the title says, this is cars only, there's no bikes, planes or anything else here. This video only focuses on track performance, so if you're interested in top speed where braking, cornering and acceleration aren't relevant, check the link in the description for the top speed testing series. And if you want to know more information about this testing, including the extent to which it's accurate and how useful it is for you personally, have a read of the full description as everything that you need is in there. This video lists the top 10 cars and is correct as of the Cayo Perico heist update. For any vehicles added after that or other classes of cars, check the playlist linked in the second line of the description, and feel free to check out my Patreon or become a YouTube member if you want to support this work and get testing results of any new cars a little bit early. So 11, I guess you could say, four-wheeled vehicles are made by Dinka, because I don't know whether you'd consider the Vitos or the Verus, which doesn't make the cut in 11th place, as cars, but all cars apart from the Verus are actually in either the sports or compact classes. But you could probably argue that all but the top 3 of the sports cars that Dinka make could be in compact instead. Prime examples of which are the Blister Compact and the Go-Go Monkey Blister, which we're seeing here, that are, absolutely nowhere in the sport class, more than 15 seconds per lap off the pace. They could quite easily be in the compact class, considering that they're beaten by some compact cars like the Blister Canjo here, which would be third in compacts. Even the Sugoi, which we're going to see in 4th place, you could argue that that could be in compacts as well, because it's nowhere in sports, and it would actually be competitive with the club in the compact class. They get around similar lap times. So yeah, Dinka, they're either making compacts or sports cars, but they also don't really know where they want their cars to be, or at least Rockstar don't. So as we see the Sugoi here in 4th place for the cars that Dinka make at least, but it's down in 64th place in the sports class. The top 3 are very similar to what we saw from the video focusing on Karen last week, where the top 3 cars were all variations of the same name, with the Sultans in the instance of Karen. Here the top 3 are all variations of Jester. First up in 3rd place we've got the Jester Classic, which is the slowest of the 3 variations. I can't complain with this one being in sports. It would be closer to the top pace in Sports Classics. So interestingly, the Jester Classic, when it was first added to the game in the files, was in the Sports Classics class, and then there were numerous problems with its model that were found by the community, and they never ended up releasing it properly during that DLC that it was actually originally added. So they then fixed those problems, but when it was officially released, it was instead put in the Sport class rather than Sport Classics. And that's also why when you load up a Sport Classics race with custom vehicles turned off, you can select the Jester Classic in Sport Classics races as a stock vehicle. You can't do that, if you've got the custom version, it's only available in sports. But yeah, a bit of a mess, the Jester Classic, and it doesn't drive that nicely either unless you're on a really flat track. But can't really hold a candle in terms of pace and performance to the top 2 either of the regular Jesters, because we got the Jester here with a 103.8, 18th place in the sports class. It's a great B tier sports car. If you want to know more about the tier system that we have for cars, you can check that out at bruffy.com/GTA5cars. There's tier lists for all the classes. The Jester, the B tier for the sports class, is a great classic tier with great cars, and the Jester is right in that alongside the number 1 vehicle that Dinka make, the Jester race car. And they're just great to drive. The Jesters really benefit from bumps, so they really like curb boosting and things like that. They get extra speed from that. But 103.3 and 103.8 for the 2 Jesters, they're very similar, and they're still great cars. To be in a sports class that has over 70 vehicles in it, to be in the still around the top 15 area is pretty impressive. These were. Oh man, when did these come out? I think it was either the very first or second sports car to be added. I know the Jester and the Massacro came in subsequent DLCs, and I can't remember right now which one came first, but we're talking, original some of the very earliest DLC vehicles that were added, certainly to the sport class and overall in the game, and they're still great vehicles even now, lovely to drive. The same can't be said for some of the newer vehicles like the Jester Classic, which is awful to drive really, and you're seeing the difference here. I decided to do first and third for this comparison at the end here rather than first and second, because the two Jesters are just so similar. And yeah, the Jester Classic is certainly, you know, a decent amount off the back of the regular Jester. But it's interesting how it's kind of the similar story to what we saw with Karen, where we had 3 Sultans at the top that were made by Karen last week, and for this video we've got 3 Jesters at the top made by Dinka. But then again, they don't really have a lot of depth, Dinka. Well, like I said at the start, it's either sports cars or compact cars, or sports cars that should really be compact cars. So the actual proper sports cars, it's of the Jesters, it's no surprise that they are at the top, beating out pretty much a load of compact cars. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Consider supporting on Patreon or become a YouTube member if you want testing results early. And remember to read the description for more info, comment with your thoughts, like the video if you enjoyed it, found it helpful, and subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.